And it looks like we're about ready to hop into our round 3. Another potential name you might recognize from within the community. Round 3, we're going to be getting StellarChristophe here on the table, playing up against their opponent, Tarviti. We'll have to see who's going first and who is keeping their hands, who's going to be mulliganing. StellarChristophe put it on the table, makes me assume that they are going to be keeping. And it looks like Tarviti going to start off with a Toxion, going to burn StellarChristophe for 1.
It's a Toxion pass, a very intimidating board. But we'll see come down to Smoltuga. I'm going to go ahead and search into the Fire Elestral. See something gorgeous here. Looks like that's going to be a Stellar Volcaries?
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Here. My wishes come true. We found fire. StellarChristophe indeed telegraphing to his opponent on fire.
Absolutely. Well, going to pass back to Tarviti here. That Toxion, once again, we talked about it in MBT's round, having a little bit of recursive value. And looks like they're going to pop down an Elechick. I think that the 4 attack stat of Elechick and of Toxion can easily take care of any sort of Shield of Achilles. The only thing you're worried about, I would say here, is Tsunami.
Tsunami would be an absolutely devastating play here. It looks like Tarviti will be going ahead and slapping down that Zeus with 3 spirits under it, potentially going to be disenchanting from it. Looks like they're going to -3/-3 that Smoltuga, so it's now at a 0-2, meaning either of these Elestrals can swing over. Tarviti going to go ahead and swing with the Toxion, and then swing one more direct with the Elechick, putting StellarChristophe down to a nice 17 here to Tarviti's. Looks like 15. Oh, StellarChristophe cracking back with the Lavalith to take out the Zeus. Absolutely punishing, overcommitting on that Zeus on the turn 1. Absolutely a massive play from StellarChristophe, seeing the limited Lavalith in their opening 7 here to take out the Toxion and punch for 1 additional damage into Tarviti's face. Really an incredible move here to be able to set up like that.
Feels really good for StellarChristophe here to be able to clear board a little bit, but Tarviti is looking to clear himself with the Boom Bat. Boom Bat coming down, and this caster is going to take out this Lavalith with ease. Am I looking back on a few formats ago? Is this see Boom Bat and Lavalith come down to try to clear out here, and these casters are going back and forth card for card. The Lavalith it is a really important card for the swing tempo back to StellarChristophe's favor, but we're gonna have to see the Necruff come down. Maybe that card that we saw searched was the Stellar Necruff instead, and it's such a cute little puppy. I love this card artwork a lot, and it should be able to make quick work of this Elechick with that 5 attack and do additional burn damage if this connects.
Yeah, this is a good piece of tempo here. Additionally, just continually putting pressure on Tarviti's Spirit deck while also controlling the board. Tarviti reaching for that rune. It's going to be a Gorgon's Gaze, preventing the attack, leaving that Elechick up on board. Wanting to keep that Elechick around, want to prevent the burn damage, I guess. Very, very interesting. Depends on what Tarviti has in hand here. They may... this makes me wonder if maybe they're on Voltempest, potentially. A Griffuse here could be massive. No, it looks like they want to keep the bodies around. They're going for the Quackle here.
A Quackle!
Heal back 3.
I love that. I believe that's the Artist Collection Quackle here. We have some cool artwork from StellarChristophe coming down, and this Quackle, one of my favorite cards inside of Elestrals, has a nice, effectively Ambrosia 4, 5, and 6 instead of the Thunder deck. With the Zeus coming down, and this Quackle can now contest and trade with this Necruff. But won't have to, as these 2 birds are going to go in on the puppy and go for an Elechick over the Necruff and a Quackle directly for damage. StellarChristophe, it's, while it looks pretty imposing from Tarviti's board, StellarChristophe is not out of this quite yet. 1 back row set, having to go into their Spirit deck for an Ambrosia to heal back 3 here. That Spirit differential is big chillin'. So you're at roughly 16 to 11. It's anyone's game at this point.
Yeah, the threatening piece from Tarviti's board right now is the Zeus. As Thunder Elestrals are not really known for their beefy stat lines, but the ability of Zeus to help get over Elestrals, as it looks like we're playing out. Is that a Stellar Ash Rabbit?
Oh, wow. It's tripping up the commentators on this one. The last couple times are jump scares. This is now testing our Elestrals knowledge. What card artwork is this? It's that I love Ash Rabbit, excuse me. Inside of Elestral, it's such a cool deck to be able to add recursive value for things like this, adding back Ambrosia for extra heals, or potentially being offensive threats like a Necruff. great card to convert to target 3 cards in the Underworld and add 1 to the hand. One of my favorite cards in the deck. And pairing this card with something like Kinleo is a dangerous combination. You can't let that go through.
Tarviti giving StellarChristophe back the Ambrosia, allowing StellarChristophe to really widen the gap here of spirits and potentially start to try and take control of this game. Tarviti is going to go ahead and use the Zeus to minus down the Ash Rabbit, looking to take out this recursive resource here and ascending over the Quackle into Arcolith!
Oh, that's the beautiful combination. You're completely fine with that. I think that in some cases you can be completely fine with that if you have a way to deal with this defense position Ash Rabbit. But this PTA should be able to make swift work of the Arcolith. And I think you'll just be able to see if Tarviti should be able to have an answer and deal more spirit damage. Because there's a world here where this doesn't connect through, and now StellarChristophe is in the driver's seat.
Oh,
a tsunami,
a massive tsunami, absolutely
incredible.
Critical moment.
Now that PTA is going to get maximum value here, going to expend the extra 2 spirits to destroy this this Arcolith, leaving a puny defense booty of an Elechick on the board. StellarChristophe might be looking to add some offensive pressure. That being said, a reenchant on the Ash Rabbit to then just get back Ambrosia to go for Nekruff is also a really solid play that they can make.
It looks like StellarChristophe is going to play another Ash Rabbit. This one's not Stellar, though, so it only has the normal effect. Looks like they're going to be targeting Lavalith, Tsunami, and a Poison-Tipped Arrow. This is a tough decision if you're Tarviti. You do not want to be put in this position.
No, literal rock in the hard place.
Feel good.
Yeah.
Lavalith back to hand.
No
Tarviti
way.
has to out this board next turn, or Lavalith is coming down and swinging for a lot of damage, dealing with the back row runes. The Ash Rabbit's clearing over Elechick and burning one. This might seem like a very innocuous game state, but this is volatile. Tarviti is in such a tough position here, setting a back row rune and picking up their spirit deck to flip through it, potentially not playing a Thunder Elestral here if they're looking for something that isn't on the top.
Their
Arcolith. No,
Lavalith. Taking out the back row do we see a chain?
It's a poison tip.
It's a poison tipped arrow, man. Tarviti cannot catch a break from.
Or is it a Gorgon's
arrows?
Gaze?
Gorgon's Gaze.
It was a full art Gorgon's Gaze.
For this Lavalith. Beefy body should be able to contest here, but an ascension into another Lavalith back to back going forward. If you are StellarChristophe, you're perfectly fine with trading this Lavalith here and trying to swing for just 1 damage to put Tarviti on some pressure. And it looks like exactly what you're going to do. You can reenchant that Ash Rabbit and get it back. You've done it once, you can do it again.
The set card was some sort of Thunderstorm, I think. And so it was a bluff set from the start anyway. Lavalith crashing with a Lavalith, and Tarviti going for a Jolton here. Search out that Mount Olympus likely potentially means that we could have a Race to the Top play coming out sometime in the near future. Not quite yet, as that Ash Rabbit has a very large booty. And also, if Tarviti wants to go ahead and play out the Mount Olympus here or not, they're going to be conservative and hold that, or they want to try and keep it up. It looks like they're playing the Mount Olympus. They value making that Jolton a 5 attacker to prevent something like a Nekruff crackback from Christophe. And Christophe flips up the Tsunami, showing that there's no way this Jolton is connecting with the Ash Rabbit, swapping both to defense. And StellarChristophe absolutely in the driver's seat, it feels like right now.
Entirely. And it's so funny to think about this too, because while both casters have fairly equal spirit counts here, it definitely doesn't feel that way. I think we've seen some call and response from both these casters, really showcasing the tempo swing that both these decks, Fire and Thunder, can bring. We have a Nectar of the Gods coming down. Drink up, Zeus, for 2 cards.
That's the second one in a row.
That is
one in a row.
It's absolutely crazy. We have the value here is nice, but those spirit count is getting low. We're gonna see here coming down. It looks like it's a third Ash Rabbit. Value upon value, maybe looking to grab the Ambrosias to heal back. Jolton is sitting pretty at a 5-3 attack under Olympus. That one back row being a Tsunami would be killer. We'll have to just check and see. Otherwise, this Jolton is going to run rampant. What we got here? An Ambrosia coming down from Tarviti, going to widen that spirit gap between the two of them. That is crucial inside of this late game. Quackle coming down and Broja coming down, these healers inside of the game will allow Tarviti to play extra cards, to see those counter runes more often. I think it'll come down to just see if Tarviti has something they can do here to maybe get over these two big defensive bodies.
They absolutely can. Re-enchanting Jolton here makes it a 6. That's all they need. And a Race to the Top is going to take out one of these Ash Rabbits. Race to the Top targeting both Ash Rabbits. One of them will be destroyed here. The question is, will Tarviti intentionally target the Stellar one as the one to be destroyed?
What card that is to take out their least favorite. We'll just... It seems like StellarChristophe has a Stellar preference.
Mono and mono.
Being over a Stellar Rabbit feels just as good. It looks like it's exactly what's going to happen. StellarChristophe down to 2 spirits left inside the spirit deck, and a massive 6/4 body from this Jolton under Olympus. 4 spirits left. I'm having to find cards I think StellarChristophe can pair back and forth into this game.
Oh!
Is that an Eruption?
That's Eruption.
For 2 spirits, it looks like that's it. That's all they wrote. So StellarChristophe activating Eruption there to get Tarviti down to 1 spirit, just showcasing that they are playing the card, potentially to scare them for a game 2. Tarviti's going to take it for game 1.
Tarviti now really has... That's going to be in the back of their mind. You know, luckily for Tarviti, Thunder is a very, very spirit-efficient archetype. And so it's likely that if they can take control of a board state early, they'll be able to maintain that spirit advantage. As we saw later in that game where Tarviti was up at least 5 spirits at one point in time. Looks like we're hopping right into here. StellarChristophe taking the go first, setting a back row, and then playing Smoltuga to search out the... Looks like a Stellar Necrof once more.
Oh, it's you know, we see this similar play come down inside of game 1. It worked out for just a little bit of time for the first start until we saw an Elechick pop down. Looks like we're going to go defense v defense 5v5 bodies here with an Astro Rabbit hitting the board, allowing for Tarviti to dig for some more resources potentially to out this defensive wall. Having to do direct damage there can be pretty advantageous, and I'm curious to see how Stellar-Christophe takes that into game 3 here. It's like going to be a set 1 after the Ash Rabbit, and a Nectar of the Gods from Stellar-Christophe coming down for 2 Fire Spirits. Pick up Zeus on that one and draw 2 cards Christophe. We have pretty preferable. I think get the advantage off the Smoltuga into a follow-up play of the Nectar of the Gods. That's 3 cards you're digging into your deck. That's feels pretty good.
And dropping Stellar Eddy gonna hit the board.
Stellar Eddy!
An incredible way to out this Ash Rabbit. However, the Poison Tip response from Tarviti means that in order to out it here, this Eddy is going to need to crash in. So the question is, does StellarChristophe want to lose the Eddy by crashing and not force Tarviti to expend a spirit here? It looks like that's what's going to happen, is that Poison Tip got incredible value. Tarviti not having to expend a spirit for popping, but will be taking damage from that Smoltuga in attack position. Going to start their turn with a Artist Collection Jolton. Going to go ahead and search. Incredible art. Such a happy little guy. Searching out that Mount Olympus. Plays around Cryoblast potentially if we're concerned about that. It looks like Tarviti's going to go ahead and play out that Mount Olympus, making this Jolton absolutely huge. Swole, one might say. Very large Jolton. And the swing into the Smoltuga is going to happen, swapping the Jolton to defense position. No back row from Tarviti's side. Both of these players very healthy, though.
A lot of times people say that counter runes and back row are the definitive way to end these games. And this is kind of an interesting showcase to say that sometimes that's not always the case. You know, you do have ways where the Elestrals are the big star of these games, and I think both decks can really showcase that. We have a Necrof coming down for StellarChristophe, and the Smoltuga wanting to do a little bit of chip damage with the burn off of the Necrof attack and the Smoltuga attack here. That's actually some pretty good value, as Necrof is a pretty big body that all the Thunder Elestrals will trade into, but not necessarily beat over with it. We'll see come down from Tarviti here. A Rabbit going for defenses, and that 6 body is huge. A Race to Top would be killer here. And dig for more cards, potentially some counter runes would be kind of nice in this position. I think the worry you have here is an Ascension from StellarChristophe. I think that would be a really cool thing to see inside this clash, is water or maybe a fire Ascension. Lavalith coming down, we've seen before. Yeah,
we saw Eruption in game 1. StellarChristophe might be on Krakatuga here. I'm gonna imagine that this, and we see it, it's coming down. It's the Krakatuga hitting the board.
Krakatuga.
Absolutely
oh my
massive
God.
for StellarChristophe here, playing it out in defense position. This Krakatuga is going to be massive for StellarChristophe, clearing this board out and starting the clock on Tarviti. And will let Christophe start to accrue spirit advantage on their opponent. The Eruption is going to come out and force out the Gorgon's Gaze to prevent the pop effect coming through from the Krakatuga. Massive play that Tarviti absolutely need to see here. It was that or nothing. Very interesting that potentially Tarviti did not preemptively do this to the StellarChristophe rather didn't preemptively do the Krakatuga effect to burn, which would have forced the Gorgon's Gaze, and then they could hold the Eruption for a later turn when Krakatuga is not Gorgon's Gaze.
What I love about the Krakatuga play here from StellarChristophe is that now Race to the Top is really only hitting this Necruff, which you're not really worried about a Thunder deck coming down and clearing this Krakatuga. But before I even finish the sentence, Tektaris coming in strong, dropping this Krakatuga to the Underworld. Wow. I don't know if it's Caster's Curse or what it is, but just talking about the difficulty for the Thunder deck to get over something like this big turtle. And meanwhile, here we are with an Earthquake coming down. It really is just that simple. And an Ascension here into the Arcolith, looking to do massive damage over this Necruff.
This is a devastating spot for Christophe to be in. We're looking at 4 damage if this Arcolith connects. That back row has to be shield at this point. If it was Poison Tipped, it probably would have been used already. If it was Gorgon's Gaze, it would have been used already. It's Tsunami, which is not nothing, but this Arcolith has 9 defense, I think?
Just as big
5
as the turtle that was just crushed under Tektaris. It's interesting here, right? Because I do think that there is a way for StellarChristophe to come back from this. Lovelith is one of them. That is exactly it. Hopping the Mount Olympus and hitting over its brother Lith. Arcolith in defense is no match for the 6th body. That is absolutely crazy. Wow, what a tempo swing.
You hate to see 2 Lith brothers fighting, but an incredible play coming from StellarChristophe and Tarviti. The same play they did. They did game 1. They're doing it in the Boom Bat into the Lavalith. An absolutely massive play, clearing the board, trying to stabilize here.
What is going on? What an answer from both players back and forth, clearing boards. We've seen Krakatuga come down into an Arcolith, into a Lavalith, into the Boom Bat, and then we see a Sluggle come down here from StellarChristophe, slowing the pace down just a little bit, healing back. 3 spirits to try to get back into the control. I feel like in an open board like this, you might even want to put that to attack, but I understand the hesitancy.
There is a certain point where Christophe's going to start thinking, well, my opponent's almost in double Eruption range, and that's massive. Tarviti's got to play very, very cautiously here to prevent themselves from losing to this. A Frost Enchanted Toxion's going to hit the board. Very interesting move here. Tarviti potentially out of Thunders in Spirit deck. StellarChristophe going to Poison Tipped Arrow this Toxion, and now it can't hit over the Sluggle. Tarviti looks like he's actually on 2 spirits. StellarChristophe a massive 8 spirit differential here, including the Sluggle on board.
The PCA might just be the closer here that StellarChristophe needs. Even just re-enchanting the Sluggle is pretty big, but looks like you're going for the Ash Rabbit here. I recognize that green from anywhere. And that's going to be game 2 for StellarChristophe, ending it with a Stellar against Tarviti with some pretty insane back and forth gameplay. I see a Toxion come down very similar to game 1, burning StellarChristophe for 1 damage. And going to drop the Mount Olympus early. I don't know about this play. Really risky considering you've seen Lavalith and potentially Rest on Your Laurels could come out here at any time, taking out this Toxion. But maybe you're not trying to risk the trade for something like a Necruff. I think there's counterbalance here that has arguments for both sides. StellarChristophe's going to set 2, and we're going to see a expend to draw.
Wow.
From StellarChristophe.
This is a massive potential here for Tarviti to really take pace. The fact that Christophe is starting out so slow here is really, really scary for Christophe. Tarviti expending to draw here. Very interesting. Setting a counter or back row here. And Christophe going to take 1 from the damage. Very interesting back and forth here. Both players playing it very slow tempo. Christophe expecting to draw again, just not seeing what he needs to see.
Either that hand is bricked up on some eruptions and a Lavalith or something. I'm trying to imagine what that hand could be. And from Tarviti's angle, expecting to draw there is also quite interesting. I maybe understand not trying to play into a Shield of Achilles, but this Toxion can definitely put some burn pressure on. And that's what we'll see here. This Toxon going up to a 6 attack body, doing now 3 spirit damage total for the turn. That's a pretty powerful Scorpion.
Oh, Gorgon's Gaze to prevent it is massive. Baiting that back row out is huge because while Christophe is going down 1 less in spirit advantage between the burn and the swing, they just lost a Gorgon's Gaze, one of the most important back row in the game. So if you're Tarviti, you're feeling absolutely in the driver's seat. To a point where Christophe is using such an early Ambrosia to heal back some water spirits here, it looks like. That is absolutely insane. The way that the pace of this game is just very, very interesting, very different from either of the other games we've seen.
No, I think that this expend to draw has been pretty brutal. Are we going to see a Lavalith come down from StellarChristophe targeting a back row? And Tarviti's got to have a response here. It's a Gorgon's Gaze of their own to come back and meet this Lavalith force. Would only trade with this Toxion, by the way. Mount Olympus has put in some serious work inside this matchup to help combat the Stadium Wars.
Oh!
And it's an Earthquake come down again. The thing is glued to the hand. We've seen Tectaris take out a few Elestrals, key Elestrals inside this tournament so far. And I think those Lavaliths have been prime food for it. Another Thunder Spirit coming down for Tarviti for a Quackle, a little bit of heal and burn.
This is a wonderful series of Elestrals from Tarviti, putting so much pressure onto Christophe. The interesting thing is that if Christophe had seen access to this Lavalith any sooner, or had seen Necruff, this game could be totally different. But the fact that Christophe has played 1 entire Elestral, 1 Lavalith, is just putting him in such a position of being on the back foot. Now, that is kind of what this deck wants to do sometime. And it looks like we have potentially a Sluggle coming out to heal 3 more spirits. Maybe what Christophe's got going on here really is some sort of stally deck where he doesn't really mind taking all this spirit damage as long as he eventually secures that Krakatuga burn for 9 or something like that. So it might be that he actually is playing sort of the way that Healstall did. Playing slow, getting hit is fine because you heal it back, you play out the Krakatuga, you burn your opponent for 9 in 1 turn, and with the Earthquake out of the deck, how do you out Krakatuga?
Yeah, no, for real. And I think that StellarChristophe can also kind of hang 10 with these tsunamis here and keep Tarviti off of clearing the board just for a little bit longer. And if we do see the Krakatuga come down inside of us, it's very possible. Again, these expended draws might signal down an Ascension. And it looks like exactly what we're going to get. Again, Krakatuga, huge. This has to be. Tefterra would be pretty big. Gorgon's Gaze would be pretty big. If not, this Krakatuga is about to do some damage. And we get an Eruption coming down from StellarChristophe, burning for 3 and destroying a card on the field. StellarChristophe is in the driver's seat again. It's a Shield of Achilles. It's never resolved. It's never resolving. Did StellarChristophe activate the effect of Krakatuga there to burn for more? Am I missing a little bit of spirit damage here?
I don't believe so. I do not think he did. I think he just used Eruption. I don't think he's using the effect of Krakatuga to burn at all.
Interesting.
Looks like he's passed.
Well, I don't necessarily hate it. Maybe the spirit count is a little bit low. Maybe not enough fire spirits inside of the deck. But the Arcolith over the Quackle, El Clasico back again. El Quackico? I'll work on that later. But Arcolith's going to come down here to enchant onto the board. It could be the Toxion as well for extra burn damage and to hit over this Krakatuga. Looks like exactly what's going to be. Toxion to burn. Said, no, you're burning me, I'm burning you.
That's an incredible play there. Arcolith, something that does come down by its effect to normal cast it frequently, but the Ascension into Arcolith is equally as powerful in this deck. And being able to trigger this Toxion here, burn Christophe for 1, and swing over into a shield which is so expensive.
What I will say, the big strong arms of this Arcolith getting bounced back. We just said that Shield of Achilles never resolves. It does when it needs to. When it shows up, and that was a killer shield onto this Arcolith. And you are afraid of a reascension onto the Toxion, but you're getting low on spirits, and this Krakatuga can start to put on some pressure.
Tarviti, no runes on the board, no face downs, just the Mount of Olympus, and a very, very large statted Toxion. You might confuse it for a Galvenom, how large this Toxion is right now. 5 spirits is a lot. And StellarChristophe using potentially Eruption here. No, we're going for Krakatuga's effect to burn 3. While it feels good, it really is only lowering the differential between the two by 1 and is putting Christophe in a precarious position at 3 spirits only. He's within eruption range himself.
A little chick coming down here onto the board, potentially threatening this Krakatsuka with the Toxion and Zeus combination is pretty killer. You really want to try to put pressure here to end it now, or else it could get hairy. Zeus is going to come down with a double enchant, and the big, strong arms of Zeus going to take down the Krakatsuka by 3 into a 6. Looks like this is a Gorgon's Gaze onto the attack of the Toxion. That's got to be something big from StellarChristophe. 2 Ambrosias off the top would be killer. And it's a Forge.
The Forge.
Wow, that's pretty big, taking out the Mount Olympus.
That's really critical here. Toxion cannot swing over the Krakatsuka now. However, Christophe has put himself at 0. This is game.
This is game.
Tarviti, all Tarviti has to do is re-enchant Toxion. Christophe throws the hand on the board, and that's it.
Yep,
that
is
2-1 for Tarviti.